In today's video, we are going to take a look at 10 tools that I think makes for smarter guitar building. These are tools that, when I got them, a light bulb sort of went off in my head and I went, now it's finally getting easier. It's something that helped me get past the stage, or making something that I thought was excruciating actually become sort of easy. And it helped me become better at building guitars, basically. Some of you might have heard this over other videos that I've made, but when I started building guitars, I didn't actually have that many tools, and my first guitar I made entirely out of using nothing but hand tools. And even though it was a lot of fun and it got me started in making guitars, I soon realized that there were tools that would help me become better at building guitars. I've been building things out of wood my entire life. I started building things when I was a small child, and I've always enjoyed shaping wood, and I loved to make art out of wood. Building furniture and things like that was a lot of fun, but I especially liked making pretty things that were just, small carvings and stuff like that. So I had tools like knife and chisels, rasps, things like that, just laying around, and those were the tools I used when I started building guitars. Instead of routing out a neck pocket for the neck, I just used a chisel and I cut it out that way. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with making a guitar that way, and it's actually a lot of fun. If you're not sure if you're gonna build a bunch of guitars or if that's where you want to go and you just want to try out, I would say that that's a perfect way to do your first guitar. Just, use the tools you have, or buy a couple of things that you need if you don't have any tools at all, and just go crazy. My first guitar body I saw out by hand with a regular saw. It didn't have any power tool or anything for that, and I just shaped the body to its final dimension with a rasp. So this is not a list of tools that I think that you must have, or that are super advanced, high-tech tools that only guitar builders use. These are common tools, at least most of them, and it's just something that made me feel like, whoa, this makes building guitars easier and faster, and I actually think it makes it more fun too, because sometimes steps are not that fun. Anyway, the first tool is a router, and it's actually a great tool to have. It makes so many steps in guitar building easier, because you can make templates and you can route out using the templates. You can make the templates as perfect as you possibly can, and then just copy the work over and over and over. You can use it to get straight lines, to get things to look exactly the right way with it. It's perfect for making, for example, the channel for the truss rod and the pickup cavities, things like that. It makes it very easy. You don't need to do that by hand, even though you can, and I've done it, and it just makes it easier. And if you don't have a router, or if you feel like you don't need a router, I would say you're cutting so many corners with a router. You're making things go so much faster. You're gonna love having a router if you don't have a router, because it's one of those tools that I would say just makes guitar building so much easier and better. So yes, try a router. You're not going to regret getting a router if you're actually building guitars. The next one is a random orbital sander, and here is mine. It doesn't have any sandpaper on it right now, but that doesn't matter because we're not going to sand anything right now. I always skip the sanding in my videos because I hate sanding. It's so horrible. I can't explain how much I hate sanding, and it takes so long. My first guitar that I built, I sanded by hand because I didn't have any sander, and I didn't think it would be that big of a deal because I'd never built something that needed to be sanded to 8,000 grit. By the end of it, your guitar will be sanded to that point, basically, and it was a horrible experience. I hated it so much, it was crazy. So getting one of these I highly recommend, because you cut your sanding time down. I can't tell you how long I sanded that first guitar. It was more than 10 hours. Crazy amount of work. And it's actually kind of crazy now when I think about it that I actually finished the guitars, because it's like, how could I spend that much time doing something like that? So if you don't have one of these, I would say that it's an awesome tool. It's great. It's perfect. It's the best. It's just, I don't know, get it. Just get it. The next tool is a thickness planer. And it's definitely not something that you need. It's not something that I say like, hey, the first thing you need to do is go out and buy one of these. No, but there is just so many steps in guitar building and in having a fun and creative time with guitar building that having a tool like this just makes it better. And I actually have two. This one is able to plane it, make it all perfect and nice. Takes minutes. Doing it by hand can take so much longer. And it can also thicken the piece to the right dimension. It's just an awesome thing to have. If you don't have one, I would just say you can do so many things. You can buy wood that are in different dimensions than what you need and then make it look perfect. You can buy planks that aren't perfect and make them perfect and save money that way by doing the work of making them perfect yourself. And also you can do things like find weird woods that aren't on the market, you know, like trees that people in your neighborhood, for example, maybe have cut down that are not, you know, woods that you can buy because they're used for like making pretty gardens and things like that, and you can use that and you can find some interesting new ways of, you know, making guitars that are unique for your builds. So this is one of those things where you're taking something like just planing and making sure your blanks of wood are straight and nice, and instead of spending hours on it, you're spending minutes. Obviously it depends on how, you know, weird your pieces of wood are looking, but usually it doesn't take that long with a thickness planer to just get things down to where it's supposed to be. Okay, so the next one is actually a great tool. This is an oscillating spindle sander, and it's basically just a sand pillar like this that spins around. It also goes up and down like this, and it's an amazing tool, and it cuts down sanding the sides so fast. Like something that might take you 2 hours to do will be done in, I don't know, let's say 10 minutes. And if you're building something without a template, you can, or if you're making templates, it makes it really easy to make the sides professional and beautiful and have that finished pro guitar look. This is one of those tools that I would suggest you get first, because when I got this, I just went for like, whoa, it can be this easy? It's crazy. I'm enjoying working with it, and I hate sanding. I don't know if I told you that, but I hate sanding. Next tool is the multimeter. Bam! Right here it is. And you don't need to get a fancy one for guitar building. Just get something reliable that works. And the thing is, when you start doing like electrical things inside of a guitar and you're wiring things up, you're gonna have a headache trying to figure things out without one of these. And I got one of these. I looked up on the internet how they work. I asked a friend who works with electronics. He helped me out. And now I can just measure things. I can check things. I don't even actually have to start soldering or desoldering things depending on what I'm doing without checking this, because I can just see what is wrong in a guitar. And it could be something like, oh, I've wired up this guitar and it's not working and I can't see what is wrong, and I measure one of the potentiometers and I'm like, okay, this would never have worked because one of the potentiometers are broken. It came from the factory broken and I need to replace it before we can continue. And before I got a multimeter, that sort of thing would give me a headache and I would just, you know, be crying in a corner. This is a industrial air cleaner, and I use it because it helps me with dust and other chemicals in the air, small particles, stuff like that. It's a great thing to have, and I used to actually hate working with a bunch of things like paints and stains and stuff like that, because I was like, oh, help me God, please, I don't want to have to deal with the smell. But getting good ventilation is so important for your health, but it also will improve some of the things that you don't like about working with chemicals, like the smell. It's a great thing to have. I highly recommend you getting something. You don't have to go as crazy as I did and get this big box. Some fans in the ceiling like this one is just as good. Okay, so the next one is long drill bit. Look at this one. And the thing is, I used to either chisel out a channel and then inlay wood over that channel, so I had a channel, or route a channel and then inlay wood over that. But with one of these, I can just drill a hole through the neck pocket or somewhere down inside the guitar body, you know, hide everything, basically. This is one of those things that I put off buying for so long, and it just made everything better. And they're not that expensive. And I've gone through a couple, and it's actually so important to me to have one of these that when one of these breaks, and they have broken, actually one of them broke while I was making a video, and if you've been subscribed for a while now, you remember seeing that. It was not fun to have to dig that out of a guitar body, but my point is, or this thing's point maybe, is that they are really good to have, and whenever I have one of these and they break, I immediately just replace them. I don't think about if I should or shouldn't, I just have them all the time. Boop. The next tool is actually maybe one that most of you wouldn't think a guitar builder would have or need, and I'm not saying that any of these tools are things you need, they're just tools that opened up special doors for me in guitar building, and this one really did that, because it allowed me to become a crazy guitar builder who made guitars out of woods that some people have never even heard of. And I've done some really weird guitars over the years. Let's not forget, I've done this for 10 years, and the tool is... I have a chainsaw! This is actually great. I can cut down and I can resize and I can do a bunch of weird, crazy things with wood that doing it by hand was agonizing. I have split wood down the middle, you know, across, not across the grain, but alongside the grain so many times, and it's horrible and it's just not very fun to do. And a chainsaw will make something that will not only take hours to do if you're gonna cut like an entire guitar body down the length of the wood. It will, you know, not only make that faster, it will also make it easier, because you're gonna be so tired in your arms. It's gonna take you the rest of the, like if you do it in the morning, it's gonna take you the rest of the day to get back on your feet after, basically. But with the chainsaw, it's like a 5-minute workout, or, you know, not even a workout, and it goes super quickly. It cuts through any kind of wood like it's butter, and it's so much fun. I'm crazy about it. So if you want to build, maybe I can do like this. Oh. So if you want to build guitars and you want to build them out of something crazy and weird that is not on the market, something that is maybe not available, or you want to buy, you know, weird pieces of wood or repurpose wood some other way, getting a chainsaw is necessary. And it makes you into a guitar builder that can build out of different things and isn't just, you know, forced to use what the store can provide for you. And if you're trying to maybe sell a guitar or something like that, you need to have a way of saying, hey, these guitars are something different. Okay, so the next tool is an angle grinder with a carving disc on. You can use the sanding disc if you wanna. I've also modded mine so that the guard is not in the way, but it does protect my hand, and it helps me out a lot. Sometimes it's really fun to hand carve, a belly carve or something like that, but sometimes you just want to get it over with. You just want to get the bulk of it out of the way, something like that. It goes super fast. Actually, sometimes I feel like it's a bit too fast, and you're actually able to lose control, but you'll get used to it. Losing control is a part of life. And having an angle grinder for this particular work, I can basically shape a neck in 5 minutes now. It's crazy, and it's great and awesome. And when I finally decided to go the route of modding an angle grinder and getting an angle grinder just for carving wood, it opened a gate for me that I am really enjoying. And if you're not shaping guitars with an angle grinder, I hope you'll try it out. You can get a really cheap angle grinder. You don't need to buy something fancy. Most angle grinders are built to cut metal, stone, you know, stuff that are really hard. So if you get a cheap one that is kind of a crappy one and you only use it for wood, it's gonna work out. I've had this angle grinder that is a Black & Decker, and it's, you know, a really bad one, and I bought it for like 30 bucks or something like that. Really bad. I would not recommend it for anything else than the wood carving thing I'm doing, and I love it for that. So this is a pellet driller, and drilling perfectly straight holes is really hard to do. I'm not talking about drilling something that is sort of straight or 99% straight. I'm talking about something that is actually straight. Like, straight as... I don't know. Put in some weird joke here that is inappropriate. You do the math. Leave me out of it. Anyway, it's a very good tool. There are certain points in guitar building where you need to drill holes that are perfectly straight. And I really mean perfectly straight. If you're gonna do a bolt-on neck, straight holes, please. For the love of God, straight holes. If you're gonna have string through body, straight holes. For the love of God, please, straight holes. Don't wiggle around and do something weird. Do the holes straight. And you can build jigs if you want to have some weird angle, you know, or something. The body strings goes in a 45-degree or something weird. I don't know. My point is, once you get one of those small things that you might think is, I don't know, sort of, do I really need that? Yes, you do. You're gonna love this tool. And I know I said that none of these tools are tools that you really need, but you're gonna need it when you've used it and you can't go back from it. It's like a drug or something. Pillar drills are amazing. I'm not addicted at all. So that's the end of that video. I hope you enjoy these tools. I have a lot more tools that I feel like, ooh, this would have been nice to share you. So if you want me to, I can make a part 2, because I felt like 10 is a nice round number, but there are more things to share. And yeah, let me know in the comments below if you would want one of those videos, because then I'll make it. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button, especially if you enjoy the content that I've been putting out. And also, it helps me out, lets me know that I should continue doing the videos. And it helps me fight against the dark overlords. You know, the algorithms of YouTube's are really hard on small channels, especially super small channels, because I know some people are like 20,000 subscribers is a small channel. And I'm like, oh my God, if I could have that many subscribers, that would be crazy. No, that's not a small channel. At least not to me, who doesn't have 1,000 subscribers. Anyway, until next time, stay awesome and cool, and go and buy some new fancy tool and have fun with that, because even if you don't need it, new toys are always fun.